Good afternoon, good evening, I should say. Good evening to everyone. Thank you so much for jumping on the live. We have a hot topic tonight to talk about. We have a really hot topic to talk about tonight. All I would ask is that you guys that do get on, keep the engagement up. If you can hear me, type into the chat box a number 1 that you can hear me. If you can hear me. If you can hear me, type into the chat box a number 1 just to let me know you're there, to let me know you can actually hear me. Got a hot topic tonight, guys. A very interesting topic that I'm sure many won't find foreign whatsoever. They won't find this topic foreign at all. I believe many experience exactly what we're going to discuss tonight. So with that being said, let's get into it. The topic, as you can see in the title, it says sign language, a method to deflect. A method to deflect. Type in the comment box if you can hear my voice clear. That's very important. Type a 1 in the comment box if you can hear my voice clearly. We had some technical difficulties last night. Hopefully we won't have that problem tonight. But type a 1 in the box, in the comment box, if you can hear my voice clearly. A number 1 in the comment box. Type a number 1 in the comment box if you can hear my voice clearly. Awesome, awesome. Am I clear? Am I clear? Am I clear? Am I clear? Let me know if you hear me clearly. Come on, guys. Put clear in the comment box if you can hear me clearly. Not a 1, clear. All right, awesome, awesome. Thank you. Listen, we got a hot topic to talk about tonight. I don't know if you're going to be upset about the topic or disagree with the topic or agree with the topic. It really doesn't matter much because the topic is true. What I'm going to be talking about happens consistently on a regular basis at all times. Men do it, women do it. But what we find most often is that women exercise this topic probably more so than we do. I believe that has a lot to do with the feminist movement and what the feminist movement has done in terms of painting the narrative and the story, the storyline to where women don't have to necessarily see men as an important individual in the scheme of things. They've been told that they're equal to men and that they can do everything men can do and all that kind of stuff. When biology debunks that theory, a man's hand strength is 7 times stronger than a woman's, and a woman's strength is about 44 pounds per square inch. A man's is about 76.2 pounds per square inch, which clearly tells you that we are not the same. Biologically, a lot of us, we are absolutely a lot alike. But naturally, we have some very significant differences. And as a result of those differences, men have built societies all over the world, okay? Men have the physical strength to manipulate the environment. This is the reason why men have built the whole entire world in terms of skyscrapers, buildings, bridges, and everything else that you can physically see with your two eyes, including the car you drive, including the house you live in, the building that you live in, the building that you work in, and the roads that you drive on. So it's clear that we're not the same, and that's okay, ladies. It should not be an issue. It certainly should not be an issue, and it's not a slight against you if we're not the same. We just have to know where our respective places are in the world and then respect one another along those lines. And with that being said, we're going to get right into this. I want you guys to hear something right away. I want you to hear what it sounds like when you hear these talking points that describe what tonight's subject is about, which is called shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right, and how this tactic actually plays out with most women when they're in a conversation with the opposite sex. And then I want you to ask yourself a question as we go further into the stream. I want you to come up with your questions on the inside, and if you have them, you type them in the top box. So here we go. Let's check this out.
What's the problem? I got a house, got a car, I got a job.
So what else you do outside this little job?
Lit job, man. Listen, it's a job, man. Lit job. I mean, but I'm a bartender, so that's what I do. I mean, I'm working on a business, also,
But you working on a business?
Yeah, I'm working on a business.
You working on a business, or you trying to get in my business?
I mean, I'm working on a business. I mean, we actually make good money. Like I get the bills paid, I have spending, but like you be on the title like food, we make some good money here.
So where you stay?
I got a house in the east. I got a 2-bedroom in the east.
A 2-bedroom.
Yeah, 2-bedroom. What you want me to have a mansion or something?
So I'm just wondering what is the rest of the house?
It's a 2-bedroom. It's not like it's 30 people stay with me. I mean, it's a nice. I don't stay with nobody. I don't worry about nobody else coming in and out the house. It's mine. I'm independent. Like, what's the problem? I got a house, got a car, got a job.
So what else you do outside?
Okay, I want you guys to just hear that, just as an example of what shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right is. In listening to that young lady talking to him, he was clearly indicating that he had a job. Not only was he indicating he had a job, but he's also indicating that he had a business that he was starting. In addition to that, he said he had a 2-bedroom apartment and he wasn't living with anyone. And right away, she goes to shaming him by calling his job little. And then she didn't stop there. She started calling started deminimizing the fact that he even had a house, had a place to stay. She was like, a 2-bedroom house, and where's the rest of it? See, those are called shame, insult, and guilt tactics. It's really meant to just humiliate the individual and to basically, as far as a man and a woman is concerned, to emasculate him and bring about shame. And with that, he's now feeling as though anything that he's done at that point is unacceptable where she's concerned. And so these are the tactics that are used, ladies. And the thing is, it's probably the most unattractive tactic. You can guarantee that a woman who carries on like this, its chances are she's probably not going to be in a real productive relationship. The relationship will probably be littered with all types of toxicity, because these tactics will be practiced over and over and over and over continuously, and it never leads to any real results outside of a negative result. So how do we get past these things? And I'm gonna tell you something. For any woman who wishes to have a relationship, these are areas and issues about attitude and behavior that has to be looked at seriously, and not only looked at seriously, but gotten rid of for the most part, because you can't expect a positive result with that kind of behavior. Absolutely not. It never has worked, never will work. And if men are expected today to behave differently, which is what I think if you polled enough women, they would tell you they want us to act differently. They want us to be different. They want us to act better. And but I'll tell you something, ladies. If you want a better man, you have to become absolutely a better woman. You have to give a man something to strive for. If this is what he's dealing with on a day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year basis, this kind of toxic attitude and toxic behavior, let me know, please, in the comment box what you believe that will lead to. It certainly won't lead to a good outcome. And good outcomes is what both of us are looking for, men and women. So how can you get a good outcome if you're throwing vinegar in a well that someone's actually trying to drink fresh water from? You can't do it. You know, you can't get bitter and sweet wine from the same fountain. You can't get it. You can try, it never works. It has never worked, will never work. We just have to learn to do better and have these kind of conversations. Now, here's the thing. If, ladies, if you could look back into your memory banks and ask yourself, at times when you were in relationships and you knew maybe that you should have took some accountability for something that perhaps he saw that was incorrect or wrong, that he didn't like, and he brought it to your attention, how did you actually respond? Did you respond by listening to respond, or did you listen to understand? I'm gonna just let that soak in just for a second. Okay? Because here's the thing. If you approach any conversation and you're not in the right spirit, you're not going to approach it to understand. You're going to approach it to respond. And responding and understanding in terms of listening are two entirely different things. It brings about toxicity when you're listening to simply respond. If your man is asking you a question about something or addressing you with something that he disagrees with or he's not happy with, does he have the right to do it? Ladies, does he have the right to do that? Or is it only one-sided that if something you're unhappy with, you have the right to do it? You see, sometimes there's a small tip in the balance on that scale, because that's a productive relationship when both individuals can take responsibility for what they both do wrong individually and then be humble enough to listen to that disagreement between the both of them. But in most cases, what I see is that is not what happens. Absolutely not. Especially with today's modern woman. That is not what happens. What happens today is the attitude is, who do you think you are to tell me, say anything to me, matter of fact. Who do you think you are? And instead of looking at what the grievance was, that's not what's looked at. Instead, it's kicked back to him. And he's told then about all the things he hasn't done. And he's supposed to stand there and take that. Is that fair? Absolutely not. So when you're looking for outcomes, you got to understand what kind of outcome exactly are you looking for. If you're looking for a productive, healthy outcome in your relationships, then you can't get a healthy, productive outcome in your relationships if you're toxic. And one of the premier toxic behaviors is shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Even though you know you probably are wrong, but you need, it's like this burning desire on the inside to be right. So to actually give in to what maybe that man's grievance is, in your mind, is to give up something of yourself. Now, ladies, you know that that's not fair, because on the other side of that, if a man did that, you would expect him to respond directly and in accordance to what it is that you had an issue with, right? We tell the truth. That's what you would want. And the minute he starts to listen simply to respond, it'll turn that whole conversation into a volcano of toxicity, right? You'll be arguing all the ways back and forth. So here's the thing. Where did this all come from? I said on a live stream a few days ago I kind of touched on it briefly. I didn't go into real big detail on some of the things that actually caused it. Yeah, we have this thing in this country called feminism. Feminism. And it doesn't mean you're feminine. It just means feminism. It was started, and I support the beginnings of where feminism came from. Absolutely. It was to give women choice, to give them the ability to exercise some level of equality as related to employment and work and wages. And I support that. I support the right that women have to towards choice. I support that. But what has it morphed into today? It's morphed into a big monster now. Because now what it's morphed into is an idea and an attitude of, I don't need no man. I have my education. I have my degrees. I have my car. I have my own house. I have my dog. I have my cat. I have my own. And in most cases, that idea and that attitude has translated into, I now am self-sufficient. I don't need a man, right? And because of that idea, it's took women off course, right? And made them turn into something that now men have nothing to even strive for. So, like I said earlier in this stream, I said, you know, you want a better man, you have to become a better woman. Why do I say that? Because you have to give him something to strive for. If you're better, he's looking at that better behavior. He's looking at that better attitude. He's looking at that femininity and not all this masculinity with all the mouth and the attitude and the eyes rolling around like you're about to have a seizure, your neck popping around. You know, you're going to end up wearing a neck brace the way your neck pops around. So what do you do in that regard? What does he do in that regard? Is he accepts what's available. And what is that? You, if you're toxic. Because it's not a lot to choose from. I often said I say to my sons a lot, I've said to them many times, I really feel sorry for you today. If you're looking for a classy, sophisticated, feminine, cooperative woman, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Because this society, through social media, through things like OnlyFans, Tinder, Instagram models. I mean, the list just goes on. How the narrative that they're painting for women is that if you just drop it like it's hot, men will just come falling to your feet. No. They'll be trying to get you to a bedroom, but they won't be falling to your feet to keep you. That's the difference. And the other thing is, you have these OnlyFans website where women can get up there and be half naked, twerking, all kinds of things. Beautiful women, but look at what they're marketing. These women are going to get older. Hot girl summer is going to go away. And when hot girl summer goes away, winter comes. What is winter? Winter is that age between 35, 45, and 65 and up. Okay? If you wasted all those years earlier in your prime with the attitude, I don't need no man, and you had the education, you had the toys, your cars, your homes, your money, your jewelry, and your shoes, your red bottoms, your Gucci, your Louis Vuitton, your Birkin bags, you know, the list goes on. If that's what you had and you thought that was all you needed, and now today it's even gotten worse. Now they're doing BBLs. And if for those of you who don't know what a BBL is, that means a Brazilian butt lift. Okay, you have women that have died doing that. And these snuffleupagus eyelashes that I see a lot of women wearing. Men don't want that anyway. Who told them that they did is the problem right there. Because the thing about this society is women have never been told to even be concerned, much less ask what a man even wants. So because this whole big narrative has been painted in the society, like I said earlier, through social media, through television, through videos, through the entertainment industry, movies, and then the local basic national narrative that's been painted. It's really put them in a bad place today, because today, a lot, I'm a firm believer in this. We're better together than we are apart. We just are. This whole hot girl summer, hot boy summer, this whole thing that we do, and we waste all our best years running around trying to pursue the things that we may want to do professionally. Nothing wrong with that. But the thing about it is, it comes with a cost, because as you get older, nature starts to take its toll. It starts to pull on you. Gravity does its own job, whether you understand it or realize it or not. And truth of the matter is, none of us look the way we looked 20 years earlier. We may look better. We may look okay. We may look fine today. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But being realistic, we know we don't look what we used to look 20, 25 years ago. Could we have had better outcomes had we made better decisions as it related to relationships? Yeah, we know. I know what most will say. Well, I was young. I was dumb. That's usually the common narrative that most people say. The only problem with being young and dumb is that everybody had the first part. Everybody was young. But when you look at education, you look at our counterpart, our non-black counterpart, and I'm talking more or less for women, our non-black counterpart. She goes to college, and she's taught to go to college to find a husband, find a mate, a productive mate. Marisol from the Philippines or some Asian country, she's taught the same thing. That's the difference between the United States and other countries. The women there are taught femininity. They're taught the importance of their men. It's only here where we have a group of women who have a low level of disrespect for their own man. And I know what some sisters may say. And I hear you. I hear you, sisters. I know what you're saying. Well, look at what they do. They do all these things to us. They cheat and they run around and act like a fool on us, and then have their babies and all this kind of stuff. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. The thing about that narrative is that it's not completely true. 50% of black men in the United States are childless and single. Why does it seem as though this narrative is always painted? It's painted that way because most people are making that narrative from a local standpoint where they live. They don't understand numbers. They don't understand the population of the country itself. So when you're talking about 50% of black men that are childless and single, it kind of debunks that whole theory that we're out here making babies all over the place. I know that's the narrative. And as a result, that becomes the excuse as well. So it adds to the problem of the talking point that we're having tonight when I talk about sign language, which is a method to deflect. That method to deflect by shaming, insulting, imposing guilt, and then that need to be right is based on no facts. It's all based on emotional reactions, and usually it's based on circumstances, consequences that that particular woman has experienced in her own decisions. And I get it. I get it. I said on another live the other day, I said, you know, I said, if there's a feeling of relief when any of us do anything wrong, and I'm pretty sure you can understand what I'm about to say. How many of us when we were kids, we did something wrong, mom comes home, she sees us, who touched those cookies in the cookie jar? The very first instinct is to say, not me. You know it was you. But you'll blame it on your sister or you'll blame it on your brother. And in some cases, you'll watch them get spanked knowing that you did it. So you see that temporary relief of not taking accountability. Well, as you become an adult, it turns into something totally different. It turns into now shaming the person who's talking to you because you identify that you cannot defeat the argument. When you can't defeat an argument, the only resort to the immature mind is to insult, bring about shame, bring about guilt statements, and then that impulsive need to be right. Because once you've said all the shaming tactics, once you've said all the insults, once you've imposed all the guilt, now there's no way to turn back that wheel. You have to continue on and forge on into that conversation by your impulsive need to be right. So where does that conversation really end? It ends nowhere, with no results, no positive results. You both walk away, neither one feeling good about what just happened. He may feel emasculated. He may feel ashamed. He may feel a lot of things by the time that conversation is over, because everybody knows one thing. Every man knows one thing. You will not beat an argument with a woman. Don't even try it. Don't think about it. You're not going to win. Don't even think about it. You're not going to win. We know that. Men know that. You're not going to beat that argument. The question, though, the real important question is, why should it be an argument? What happened to communicating with one another the way we should, with respect one to the other? What happened to that? You know, what happened to a woman admiring her husband, her man? What happened to that? What happened to the idea of her catering to him? Why is that like acid reflux? Why is that like kryptonite, to even fathom to do something like that? Why is that? And it's really sad because it's the breakdown of community. 1 out of every 4 black women in this country will marry. That means 3 out of the 4 will die by themselves. That's 2 plus 2 is 4. We can't turn 2 plus 2 into 6, 9, 8, or any other number on the mathematics scale. 2 plus 2 will still be 4. Those are the numbers. 1 out of 4 will marry in a lifetime. That means 3 will die by themselves. That's something to think about. But why are they dying by themselves? You have to look at all of what I said earlier in the same stream. There's an old saying that I remember my mom used to tell me, my grandmother used to tell me, you make your bed, you have to lay in it. Now you have to ask yourself, what kind of sheets were you using? What kind of pillowcases were you using? In fact, what kind of pillows were you using? What kind of covers were you using? I mean, if we make our own bed, we made it with something. So what exactly was the quality of what you were using to make that bed to cause you now, later on, some of us, many of us, to find ourselves in such a hard bed? Springs busting through the mattress, poking us in our back, It's lopsided on one side, lopsided on the other, or it leans forward at the bottom, And these are just some things to think about. What are the outcomes that we want, ladies? What are the outcomes that we want? If you believe being toxic is attractive, got news for you, it's not. No man finds that attractive. No man finds it attractive. And the narrative, the other narrative that's painted. I heard a sister say to me one time, many times in fact, she said to me, I can get any man I want. Now this is going to sting. You're right. You can get any man you want to sleep with you. But can you get any man you want to keep you? And that's the difference. And why does he not want to keep you? It goes back to toxicity. What is it like to be with you? What is that experience like for a man to be with you? If you were to poll any of your last relationships in the past and ask them all a question, how was that experience being with me? What would they say? What would they say? I'm more prone to believe that men in a question like that will tell more of the truth than most sisters will. That's a fact. Because in a lot of cases, even if the man is doing everything, this modern woman today, she's not satisfied. And it's sad. She's not satisfied. You don't make enough. You don't work enough. You don't get enough hours. The list just goes on. But he's not robbing anyone. He's not stealing from anyone. He's not selling drugs. He's not on the corner. He's not doing, he's trying to live a regular, normal, productive life. And it's still not enough. So then comes behind that not being enough is what this topic tonight is all about. Shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right. Now, how do we get better outcomes with that kind of thought process? We can't get it. It won't happen. And I keep saying we're better together than we are apart. We just are. So how do we destroy this narrative and get us back together to where women begin to see their man as a goal, see their man as a prize for them, start looking at their man with admiration, admiring them, actually, making them a goal in their life, that I'm going to make myself the kind of woman that I should be, could be, that would make any man attracted to me. And not to get on a religious standpoint, but scripture says, he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. That leans more to saying that she already existed as a wife. See, because what you find, that means it was already there. She doesn't become one. She already was one. Now we have to understand. Now we have to try to study and find out what is the characteristics of a wife. Is it shame, insult, guilt, the need to be right? Is it popping her neck all over the place, eyes rolling all over the place? Is that what it is? Is it being loud, over talking your man? Is that what it is? Is it, hands on your hips, till your backbone slip? Is it that? Is it, is it how many bags you have? Is it how many pairs of shoes you have? At what point is what's important become unimportant, and then the focus of what is important becomes absolutely not only important, but absolutely necessary? If 1 out of 4 will marry, 3 will die alone, man, ladies, you should be running to the racetrack trying to get to the finish line as if your hair was on fire, to try to figure out how it is and what it is I have to do so that I can live up to the whole idea of what would make me most attractive. to the man that I desire to have. I think that's important. Now, none of us are perfect. Absolutely not. Myself included. None of us are perfect. None of us are perfect. But there's a difference in watching the race from the bleachers and actually being in the race. Of course, when you run a track race, I know because I ran track in high school, the best runners caught cramps. The best runners missed the baton when it was passed to them. The best runners tripped and fell. The best runners passed out. Okay? So that's an indication that we're not perfect, but we're on the track. So ladies, don't you want to get on the track? Or do you want to keep buying in to this modern day mentality that you don't need to be fit, that you don't need, it's not important to be feminine. You don't need to, and it's not important to be cooperative. You don't need to. Are you going to keep buying into that narrative? Well, if you have already bought into the narrative up to this point, what have been the results for you? What have been the outcomes? What have been the outcomes for you? And with watching the society the way it is now, I mean, just watch TV. Just watch TV. Basketball wives, you know. One thing you do notice about basketball wives is that they're not married anymore. A lot of them, few of them. It's amazing how they still keep calling them basketball wives, you know. And we can go down the list of different programs that come on right now that speak to the narrative that I'm talking about right now. It speaks to the narrative and it gives strength to the narrative to the point that modern women believe that this behavior is okay and acceptable, and that guess what? Here's the real kicker, that men should accept it. That's it. Should accept it. And in the end, if you sat down and had a face-to-face conversation with so many of these modern women that are caught up in this feminist mentality, and you ask them, well, what would you be bringing to the table to the man that you desire to be with? You will be shocked about the answer that you get. I hear all kinds of stuff. I am the table. That's laughable. I am the table. I am the table. Okay. I'm the table. All right. That's interesting. Well, it's amazing that when a man is asked what he's bringing to the table, you expect him to bring not just himself. You expect him to bring a traditional behavior as a traditional husband. You expect him to bring the whole check. You expect him to bring all the gifts and toys that you desire to have. You got a list so long of what you expect. But if, you know, of what you expect from him, but if he asked you for a list, you couldn't fit it on the back of a stamp. Now, how is that fair? That's not fair at all. And it also proves that the outcomes will not be positive. If you look at, go into the supermarkets, go into the malls, go into the restaurants on a late Friday night evening, do an experiment for yourself. Walk in there and watch how many sisters, women, are sitting at tables together with themselves. All a bunch of women sitting together, all got a glass of wine in front of them, and none of them are accompanied by a man. Go into the malls where you live and where you are. Walk up and down the malls. Just do a poll. Look at how many of your counterpart, meaning white women or Asian women, are walking through the malls that are walking with a man, and how many black women are walking through the mall by themselves with bonnets on their hair. Got to add that too. Bonnets, bedroom slippers, pajamas, in public, as if that's something to attract a man. And you know, the funny thing is, a lot of women that think like this, what they're doing is they're presenting to the men who they say they want or don't want what they believe they deserve. That's why they're doing it. Because see, a wife by behavior and definition would never do that. What is attractive about a bonnet? I really would love to know that. They wear it like it's a style or something. What's attractive about a bonnet? What's attractive about these snuffleupagus eyelashes? You seen Sesame Street. You remember snuffleupagus? Yeah, remember my eyelash? That's what you're looking at now. Who said men even like it? Society did. Men were never asked. Whoever said that? You know? And this is the talking point that needs to be had, needs to be taken serious, because going forward, with all the nonsense that's taking place going on in this country right now, as it relates to relationship and how family is defined, a whole new definition is being given now for what it even means. If you look at television and how the talking points as it relates to family and children is being painted, it's as though the society wants to change the whole narrative in the minds of all the people that exist here to believe that family means something outside of a heterosexual relationship. Now, mind you, do what you choose. If you're not heterosexual, hey, do what you choose. But when you start talking about family, you're talking about a man, a woman, and children. That's what you're talking about. Now, you can put a definition on it. They can put a definition on it. The country can put a definition on it. Heck, the world can put a definition on it that defies what I just said. It won't matter. It won't matter. I know for a fact in scripture, Eve had a job where Adam was concerned. Period. That's it. She had no other objective except to serve her husband. And today, that whole narrative has been dashed to pieces. And all of these other toxic attitudes have come into play and basically usurped the whole idea of what family is, what femininity is. So men are becoming more feminine, women are becoming more masculine, and you almost can't tell where the hell the difference is going at now. It's all over the place. So it's incumbent upon the women who do understand what I'm saying, these talking points, to get serious about what it is you're actually focusing on. Because again, we're better together than we are apart. We are better together than we are apart. We just are. But you choose. You decide. You decide. I thank all of you who participated in this stream tonight. I hope something I said, you got something from it. As a disclaimer, I don't claim to be any professional psychologist or any professional counselor or any of these things. I just believe some talking points need to be said, you know, and whoever's afraid to say it, I just happen to be one that's not afraid to say it because I believe it's important. You know, I believe it's important. All of us have made mistakes in our past, and we've worn the results of those mistakes. The next question is, how many more mistakes do you want to do? Because if you don't make a decision to fix the mistakes, change the mistakes, take another course, correct attitude and behaviors, then the minute someone brings it to your attention, you'll resort to the same thing this talking point is all about. And that's called shame, insult, guilt, and the need to be right, which is only a method of deflecting. It's really meant to shut the individual talking to you down, to end the conversation, and so that you could walk away with some perceived victory, while the behavior, attitudes, and future consequences of behavior, attitudes will persist and continue to follow you throughout the rest of your life. But if you want better relationships, especially as it relates to the men that you want. These behaviors won't survive, cannot survive, and get the outcomes that you want. They can't get it. We are better together than we are apart. We are better together than we are apart. We just are. This has been the next stream of Let's Talk About It. I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to Sheila Johnson. I see you. Shout out to you, and blessing to you and yours as well. Shout out to Abdul. Shout out to my mom who's on the stream. Wow. Miss Margaret Burns. Shout out to you. Love you to pieces. And I love all of you that are supporting this stream. I got so many other great mind-boggling topics that I'm going to be coming forth with. I'll be on again with my next stream this Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. I'm going to have to do a recap of the stream that had to be canceled yesterday because of technical difficulties. Just couldn't get the camera going up, and you know how things go. You build it as you fly it. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm not going to worry about it. And these talking points will continue. Love you. Thank you all that support this stream and that came on. And God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Shout out to all the fathers for Father's Day yesterday. Shout out to all of you. I salute you. We usually don't get the credit we deserve, fathers, and we don't get it, but but I'm saluting all you fathers out there that are doing your thing, that are not MIA. You've been in your children's life. I salute you. I salute you. I salute you. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic, positive, productive night. And I look forward to being with you again Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. God bless and good night.